Welcome back to the channel, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Today we are going on an exciting journey through British numismatic history as we uncover the top 5 most valuable United Kingdom halfpenny coins. These small copper coins once had a simple purpose in everyday shopping, but today some examples have become highly desirable collector pieces because of their rare years, special varieties, mint marks, and outstanding conditions. Let's get started. First up, the United Kingdom 1940 halfpenny. And even in dirty or heavily circulated condition, it can still attract attention because it comes from a dramatic wartime era and carries a classic British design that collectors instantly recognise. This is a bronze George VI halfpenny from the standard circulation series, struck at the Royal Mint in London, with the King's portrait on the front and the famous ship design on the reverse. The 1940 date is not a tiny mintage rarity, but it remains an appealing coin for collectors because it is old, historic, and part of one of the most collected pre-decimal British series. The 1940 halfpenny belongs to the George VI era, when Britain was living through the Second World War and everyday coinage was still moving through shops, markets, and family pockets across the country. Numista lists this type as a standard circulation coin issued for the years 1937 to 1948, with George VI on the obverse and the denomination on the reverse. The date 1940 itself sits inside a very important historical moment, which adds emotional and collector appeal even though the coin was made for ordinary use. NGC shows a 1940 mintage of 32,162,000 pieces, which tells us it was widely produced and widely used during the period. What makes this coin visually special is its traditional bronze format, its 25.5mm size, and the design by Thomas Humphrey Paget. The obverse shows an uncrowned portrait of King George VI facing left, while the reverse carries the 3-masted ship sailing left, the denomination, and the date. Numista identifies the ship as based on Sir Francis Drake's Golden Hind, and NGC confirms the bronze composition and the Golden Hind reverse design. One interesting detail for collectors is that Numista notes the 1940 issue can be found with genuine reverse varieties, meaning the date has more than one recognized reverse style, which gives advanced collectors an extra reason to study the coin closely. In dirty condition, this is not a high-end rare coin, but it is still collectible because demand exists at the affordable end of the market. Since more than 32 million were struck, the 1940 halfpenny is better described as common in mintage but desirable in type, date, and variety collecting. Numista's condition table shows that circulated examples can trade at low single-digit to low double-digit US dollar equivalents depending on grade, with a 1940 date especially interesting because of the reverse varieties. A dirty coin usually falls below strong collectible grades, so its value tends to sit near the low end unless it has exceptional eye appeal, a clear variety, or a very strong demand from a beginner collector. In practical market terms, a heavily worn or dirty raw example is often only a modest purchase, but it still has the advantage of being an identifiable wartime coin with real historical character. That estimate is an inference from the published grade data and market references, not a fixed official price. For a clean, honest answer on value, the 1940 halfpenny in dirty condition is usually a low-cost coin, not a jackpot coin. Based on the published circulated grade ranges for this type and the broad marketplace evidence, a dirty example commonly lands around about $1 to $5 in ordinary raw condition, with some pieces bringing a little more if the surfaces are unusually presentable, the date is bold, or a buyer specifically wants a 1940 George VI type coin. Better circulated examples can move higher, and very attractive examples can reach the low double digits, but that is more about grade and presentation than the date alone. NGC's mintage figure and Numista's grade table together show why. The coin is historic and collectible, yet not especially scarce in the absolute sense. If you are collecting the 1940 halfpenny, the first thing to do is identify whether the coin is simply dirty or whether it has actual damage, such as bends, corrosion, or heavy pitting, because cleaning can sometimes reduce collector appeal even further. It is also smart to check the reverse carefully, because Numista notes that 1940 has real reverse varieties, and that detail can matter more than surface dirt when a collector is comparing coins. Try to keep the coin dry, avoid harsh polishing, and store it in a basic holder so the bronze does not continue to deteriorate. If you are buying, compare several examples before paying a premium, because the same date can vary a lot in eye appeal even when the mintage is large. The United Kingdom 1940 halfpenny is a great example of how a coin does not need to be rare in mintage to be collectible in the marketplace. Its wartime history, George VI portrait, Golden Hind reverse, and recognized 1940 reverse varieties all give it strong collector interest, even when the coin is dirty and heavily circulated. In dollar terms, a rough example is usually a low-value coin, but it still has real appeal because it connects the owner to an important era and remains an affordable piece of British numismatic history. For many collectors, that combination of history, design, and accessibility is exactly what makes the 1940 halfpenny worth keeping. Next up, the United Kingdom halfpenny from 1949. This small copper coin may look ordinary at first glance, especially when found in circulated or fine condition, but behind its simple design lies a story connected to post-war Britain, traditional coin production, and the world of coin collecting. Many collectors enjoy searching through old collections, inherited coin jars, and antique markets because even common-looking coins can sometimes attract attention when they have the right historical background, excellent details, or special characteristics. The 1949 UK halfpenny is a coin that represents an important period when Britain was rebuilding after World War II. While millions of these coins were produced for everyday use, examples with clear details, attractive surfaces, and collectible condition continue to interest enthusiasts around the world. In today's video, we will explore the history, design features, rarity, collector demand, and possible auction values of the 1949 halfpenny in fine condition. We will also discuss what collectors should look for when evaluating this classic British coin and why it remains an interesting addition to many collections. The United Kingdom halfpenny has a long tradition dating back centuries, and by 1949 it was still an important part of Britain's everyday currency system. During this era, the halfpenny had a value of 1/240th of a pound before decimalisation, and it was commonly used for small purchases. The coin was part of the pre-decimal currency system that included pennies, farthings, shillings, and pounds, a system that remained in use until the major currency change of 1971. The year 1949 came during the reign of King George VI, who ruled Britain from 1936 until 1952. His reign included some of the most challenging periods in British history, including World War II and the difficult years of recovery that followed. Coins from this era are especially interesting to collectors because they reflect the economic conditions, artistic style, and manufacturing techniques of post-war Britain. The 1949 halfpenny was produced by the Royal Mint and continued the traditional design style that had been used on British bronze coins for many years. Although it was not created as a rare commemorative issue, it remains historically valuable because it represents ordinary daily life in Britain during the late 1940s. Many examples entered circulation and experienced years of use, making well-preserved pieces more desirable among collectors. The United Kingdom halfpenny 1949 features the famous portrait of King George VI on the obverse side. The design was created by renowned British coin engraver Thomas Humphrey Paget, whose work appeared on many coins during the reign of George VI. The portrait shows the king facing left, with inscriptions identifying the monarch and the country. The reverse side displays the classic image of the Golden Hind ship, a famous sailing vessel associated with Sir Francis Drake. This design was introduced on British halfpennies in the early 20th century and became one of the most recognizable features of the denomination. The ship design represents exploration, maritime history, and Britain's long connection with the sea. The coin was struck in bronze, giving it the traditional reddish-brown appearance when well preserved. Over time, circulation, environmental exposure, and storage conditions can change the coin's color, creating darker brown or aged surfaces. Collectors often appreciate coins that maintain strong design details, including the ship sails, lettering, and the portrait features of King George VI. A fine-condition 1949 halfpenny generally shows moderate circulation wear but still retains clear major details. The raised areas may have some flattening, but the overall design remains visible. For many collectors, a pleasing example with good eye appeal can be more attractive than a heavily worn coin. The 1949 United Kingdom halfpenny is not considered one of the rarest British coins by mintage numbers, as large quantities were produced for circulation. However, rarity in coin collecting is not always determined only by the number originally made. Condition, appearance, historical interest, and collector demand all play important roles in determining a coin's desirability. Fine condition examples are popular because they offer a balance between affordability and collectability. Many collectors building a complete George VI collection look for examples from each year, and the 1949 issue is an important part of that series. Coins with sharper details, attractive natural color, and minimal damage often receive more attention. Even damaged or heavily circulated examples can attract interest because they represent a piece of British history that may have been carried in pockets, used in shops, or saved by families for decades. Collectors sometimes search for older coins regardless of condition because each piece has its own journey and historical connection. Damaged 1949 halfpenny with scratches, corrosion, or heavy wear usually has lower market value compared with better preserved examples. However, unusual features, rare errors, strong original details, or interesting toning can sometimes increase collector interest. Serious collectors often examine every detail, including lettering, date, surface quality, and possible minting characteristics. The auction market value of a United Kingdom halfpenny 1949 depends heavily on condition, quality, and collector demand. A typical circulated example may have a modest value, often selling for around a few cents to a few dollars depending on its appearance and buyer interest. Fine condition examples with clear details and attractive surfaces may generally sell in the range of approximately $1 to $10. Higher quality examples with exceptional preservation, strong color, and professional grading can attract stronger prices, sometimes reaching higher amounts at specialist coin auctions. Collectors are usually willing to pay more for coins that stand out from common examples because quality is one of the most important factors in modern numismatics. It is important to remember that auction values can change depending on market trends, the reputation of the auction house, and the number of collectors competing for the coin at that time. A coin that appears ordinary to one person may become desirable to another collector who is completing a specific historical collection, the biggest value. Next up, the United Kingdom halfpenny 1948. This small copper coin may look ordinary at first glance, but it carries the story of post-war Britain, the reign of King George VI, and the changing world of British currency. For collectors, coins like the 1948 halfpenny are valuable because they connect us to a specific period in history and represent the craftsmanship of the Royal Mint during the years after World War II. The 1948 UK halfpenny is especially interesting because collectors often search for examples in better condition, with clear details and attractive surfaces. A coin graded in fine condition can still attract attention in the collector market, especially when it has strong design features, good eye appeal, and a well-preserved appearance. While it is not considered one of the rarest British halfpennies, demand from collectors, historical importance, and condition can influence its auction value. In today's video, we will explore the history, unique features, rarity, collector demand, market value in dollars, and important tips for anyone who owns or discovers a 1948 halfpenny. The United Kingdom halfpenny has a long and important history in British coinage. The halfpenny denomination was introduced centuries ago and was commonly used for everyday purchases, making it a coin that millions of people handled throughout generations. By 1948, Britain was recovering from the effects of the Second World War, and coins from this period reflect a nation rebuilding itself while maintaining traditional designs. The 1948 halfpenny was issued during the reign of King George VI, who ruled Britain from 1936 until 1952. This era was historically significant because it included World War II and the years of recovery that followed. British coins from the late 1940s are popular among collectors because they represent a transition period before the modern Elizabeth II coinage era. The coin was produced by the Royal Mint and continued the traditional design style used on British halfpennies. Millions of these coins were produced for circulation, as the halfpenny remained an important part of daily transactions. People used these coins for small purchases, and over decades many examples became worn, scratched, or damaged. Today, collectors look for pieces that still maintain attractive details and original features. A fine condition 1948 halfpenny represents a coin that has been circulated but still retains recognizable design elements. Collectors appreciate these coins because they provide an affordable opportunity to own a genuine piece of British history while also preserving a connection to the post-war period. The United Kingdom halfpenny 1948 has several features that make it appealing to collectors. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of King George VI, created by designer Thomas Humphrey Paget. His portrait shows the king facing left and represents the official coinage design used during his reign. Around the portrait are inscriptions identifying the monarch and the country of issue. The details of the lettering, the shape of the portrait, and the overall engraving quality demonstrate the craftsmanship of the Royal Mint during this period. The reverse side features the famous image of the Golden Hind, the historic ship associated with Sir Francis Drake. This design was created by Leonard Charles Wyon and had been used on British halfpennies for many years. The ship design is one of the most recognizable features of the denomination and adds historical interest to the coin. The coin was struck in bronze, giving it the traditional copper-colored appearance associated with British halfpennies. Over time, many examples developed darker shades, natural toning, or surface changes due to circulation and storage conditions. Some collectors appreciate coins with attractive natural aging because they show the authentic journey of the piece through history. A fine condition example usually shows moderate wear on the highest points of the design, but major details remain visible. Collectors often examine the portrait, lettering, ship details, and overall surfaces when determining the desirability of the coin. When discussing rarity, the 1948 United Kingdom halfpenny is an interesting coin because it was produced in large numbers, meaning it is not rare in the same way as some low mintage or error coins. However, rarity is not only about the number of coins originally made. Condition, preservation, unusual features, and collector demand all play an important role in determining value. Many 1948 halfpennies have survived, but a large percentage have experienced heavy circulation, scratches, corrosion, cleaning damage, or environmental wear. Finding one with strong remaining details and attractive appearance can be more challenging. Even coins with damage can interest collectors because every piece tells a story about how it was used and preserved over the decades. Collectors who focus on King George VI coinage often seek complete collections by year and denomination. This creates steady demand for coins like the 1948 halfpenny. A damaged example may have lower value, but rare errors, unusual strikes, or coins with exceptional historical appeal can still attract attention. The collector market often rewards coins that have originality. A naturally aged coin with clear details can sometimes be more desirable than a heavily cleaned example. For this reason, collectors carefully examine the condition before deciding the true value of a coin. The auction market value of a United Kingdom halfpenny 1948 depends heavily on condition, quality, and collector interest. A typical circulated example may sell for a small amount, often around a few cents to a few dollars, depending on demand and presentation. A fine condition example with good details and attractive surfaces may generally attract higher interest from collectors, and many coin auctions. A 1948 halfpenny in fine condition may sell approximately in the range of $1 to $10, depending on the exact quality, buyer interest, and market conditions. Examples with exceptional preservation, attractive toning, or special characteristics may achieve higher prices. Professional grading can also influence the market value. A well-preserved example with strong eye appeal and certification from a recognized grading service may attract collectors who prefer authenticated coins. However, value is always determined by the actual condition and rarity of the individual coined it. Next up, the United Kingdom halfpenny coin from 1942. This coin may look simple at first glance, especially when found in circulated condition with signs of wear, scratches, or a darker appearance, but every old coin carries a story from the era in which it was produced. The 1942 halfpenny was created during one of the most important periods in world history, and it represents Britain's economy and daily life during the Second World War. In today's video, we will look at the history, design features, rarity, collector interest, and possible auction market value of this coin in dollars. Whether you have one hidden in an old collection, inherited from a family member, or discovered it among vintage coins, this information will help you understand why collectors continue to search for these historic British halfpennies. The United Kingdom halfpenny 1942 was issued during the reign of King George VI, a period marked by major global events and challenges. The early 1940s were dominated by World War II, and Britain was facing enormous economic pressure. Coins produced during this time were not only used for everyday transactions but also became historical objects representing the strength and resilience of the nation during wartime. The halfpenny denomination had been part of British currency for centuries, serving as an important coin for small purchases and daily commerce. By 1942, the halfpenny was still widely used by the public for buying small goods, paying for services, and completing everyday transactions. Millions of these coins entered circulation, and over the decades many were lost, damaged, heavily worn, or removed from use. The 1942 halfpenny was struck at the Royal Mint and continued the traditional design style that had been used on British bronze coins. Although it was not created as a rare coin at the time, its age, historical connection, and survival rate today make it an interesting collectible for enthusiasts who appreciate coins from the wartime era. The United Kingdom halfpenny 1942 has several classic design elements that attract collectors. The obverse side features the portrait of King George VI, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget. This portrait represents the British monarchy during a difficult but important chapter in history. The reverse side displays the famous image of Sir Francis Drake's ship, the Golden Hind, which was designed by Leonard C. Wyon. This traditional halfpenny design had been admired by collectors for generations because of its detailed artwork and connection to British maritime history. The coin was made from bronze and has a diameter and weight typical of pre-decimal British halfpennies. Because many examples spent decades in circulation, collectors often find coins with worn details, dark surfaces, scratches, and environmental damage. However, even circulated examples can still attract attention because of their historical importance. One interesting aspect of the 1942 halfpenny is its connection to wartime Britain. Collectors often appreciate coins not only for rarity but also for the stories behind them. A coin that was used by ordinary people during the 1940s can become a valuable historical reminder of everyday life during the war years. When discussing the rarity of the 1942 halfpenny, it is important to understand that rarity depends on several factors, including surviving numbers, condition, demand, and collector interest. The coin was produced in large quantities, so it is not considered one of the rarest British halfpennies ever made. However, finding examples with strong details, attractive original surfaces, or unusual characteristics can increase collector interest. Circulated and damaged examples are usually more affordable, but they still have a place in the collecting world. Many collectors enjoy building complete date collections of British halfpennies, and the 1942 issue is an important part of any George VI halfpenny collection. Even a worn coin can be desirable because it represents a genuine piece of wartime history. Coins with heavy scratches, corrosion, cleaning marks, or significant damage generally sell for lower prices compared with higher-grade examples. However, collectors sometimes search for these coins because they are affordable and allow beginners to own an authentic piece from the 1940s. The demand for old British coins has remained strong internationally, especially among collectors interested in King George VI coins, pre-decimal currency, and World War II memorabilia. A well-preserved 1942 halfpenny with clear details can attract more attention at auctions, while damaged examples are usually collected mainly for historical value. The auction value of a United Kingdom halfpenny 1942 depends greatly on its condition, appearance, and collector demand. A typical circulated example with noticeable wear may usually sell in the range of approximately $1 to $5, depending on the marketplace and buyer interest. Coins in better circulated condition, with clearer designs and attractive surfaces, may reach around $5 to $15. Higher-grade examples with exceptional preservation can attract stronger bids from collectors and may sell for higher amounts, especially when professionally graded or offered alongside other valuable British coins. It is important to remember that most 1942 halfpennies are not worth millions of dollars, but their true appeal comes from their historical connection and collectability. Auction prices can vary widely because collectors may pay more for coins with special qualities, excellent eye appeal, or interesting features. For someone discovering an old 1942 halfpenny in a collection, the best approach is to examine the coin carefully, compare it with auction records, and consider professional evaluation if the coin appears unusually well preserved. If you own a United Kingdom halfpenny 1942, proper handling and storage are very important. Avoid aggressive cleaning because removing the natural surface of an old coin can reduce its collector value. Many collectors prefer coins with original surfaces, even when they show signs of age. Store the coin in a protective holder or coin capsule to prevent further damage from moisture, dust, and handling. Keeping detailed records of where and when the coin was found can also add interest to your personal collection. Collectors should examine important details such as the date, portrait condition, reverse design, edge quality, and any unusual mark. Next up, the United Kingdom halfpenny from 1957. This small bronze coin may appear ordinary at first glance, especially when found in bad, damaged, or heavily circulated condition, but every old coin carries a story that connects us to the past. The 1957 UK halfpenny was produced during a changing era in British history, and today it remains an interesting collectible for beginners and experienced collectors around the world. Many people overlook worn and damaged coins because they do not look attractive, but collectors understand that age, historical importance, rarity, and demand all play a role in determining a coin's value. The 1957 halfpenny is not considered one of the rarest British coins ever made, but certain examples with unusual features, strong details, original surfaces, or interesting errors can attract attention in the collector market. Even a coin in bad condition can have value if it connects with a collector looking for a specific year to complete a collection. In today's video, we will explore the complete history of the United Kingdom halfpenny 1957, its unique design features, why collectors still search for this coin, how damaged examples are viewed in the market, and what kind of auction prices collectors might expect in dollars. So, if you have an old halfpenny from 1957 hidden away in a collection, keep watching because this small coin might be more interesting than you think. The United Kingdom halfpenny has a long and important history that dates back hundreds of years. By the time the 1957 halfpenny was released, Britain was still using the traditional pre-decimal currency system, where £1 was divided into 20 shillings and each shilling contained 12 pence. The halfpenny represented half of 1 penny and was an important everyday coin used by ordinary people for small purchases. The 1957 halfpenny was issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, who had become monarch in 1952. This period marked the beginning of a new chapter in British coinage, with designs featuring the young Queen's portrait. The coin was struck in bronze and continued the traditional style that had been used on British halfpennies for many years. The reverse design features the famous image of the Golden Hind sailing ship, created by renowned designer Sir Francis Drake's historical association with exploration. This design had been used on British halfpennies since the reign of King George VI and continued into the early Elizabeth II period. The ship represents Britain's maritime history and its connection with exploration and trade. Millions of halfpennies were produced during this era, and many entered daily circulation. Because these coins were used frequently, finding a 1957 halfpenny in perfect condition today is much more difficult than finding a worn example. Most surviving coins show signs of age, including scratches, discoloration, dirt, and wear from decades of handling. The United Kingdom halfpenny 1957 has several features that make it an interesting collectible. The coin was made from bronze, giving it a warm brown appearance when preserved properly. Over time, Many examples developed darker tones, greenish oxidation, or surface marks due to storage conditions and circulation. On the obverse side of the coin, collectors will find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II facing right, along with inscriptions identifying the monarch. The design reflects the early years of Elizabeth II's reign and represents an important transition period in British coin history. The reverse side displays the Golden Hind ship sailing across the waves. Around the design appears the denomination and year of issue. This detailed ship design is one of the most recognizable features of the British halfpenny series and is highly appreciated by collectors who enjoy historical designs. Although a normal 1957 halfpenny is not extremely rare, coins with special characteristics can become more desirable. Examples with strong original details, unusual strikes, errors, or attractive natural patina may receive greater attention at auctions. Collectors often examine small details such as lettering, the ship design, and the condition of the surfaces before deciding the value. When discussing the rarity of the 1957 UK halfpenny, it is important to understand the difference between rarity and condition. The coin itself had a large production run, meaning it is not considered a scarce coin in ordinary circulated condition. However, collectors often appreciate older coins because of their historical connection and the challenge of finding better examples. A damaged or bad condition 1957 halfpenny may not bring a high price compared with a rare error coin or a high-grade specimen, but it can still have collector interest. Many collectors build complete date collections, and they may need a 1957 example regardless of condition to complete their sets. Coins with heavy wear, scratches, corrosion, or dark surfaces are usually valued lower, but they still represent a piece of British history. Some collectors prefer circulated coins because they show the real journey of the coin through everyday life. A coin that was once used in shops, markets, and homes decades ago can tell a story that a newly preserved coin cannot. The demand for older British coins has remained strong among collectors worldwide. And the Golden Hind ship design. Look for unusual features such as missing letters, double designs, or strange marks that could indicate a minting error. Proper storage is also important. Keep old coins in a dry environment and avoid exposing them to chemicals or moisture. A simple coin holder or protective capsule can help prevent further damage. If you believe your coin has something unusual, consider showing it to a professional coin dealer, collector group, or auction specialist. Expert opinions can help determine whether your coin is simply a common circulated example or something more. Even in bad special varieties, errors, and better preserved examples can become much more desirable. So before you ignore an old halfpenny found in a drawer, box, or family collection, take a closer look. That small piece of bronze may not only hold historical value but could also be an important discovery for a passionate coin collector. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy learning about rare coins, hidden treasures, and fascinating pieces of currency history, make sure to subscribe and join us for more exciting coin discoveries.